person I'm looking for is quite well known. He's killed 14 people that we know of.
You ever think he might come after you?
Oh, at least 30 seconds of every day. Hello.
Is this Clarice? Oh, hello, Clarice. I've been in a state of hibernation. I need some action, Clarice. I need to come out of retirement and return to public life. I couldn't help noticing on the FBI's rather dull public website that I have been elevated to the more prestigious 10 most wanted list. Is this coincidence, or are you back on the case? If so, goody goody.
I have information about Hannibal Lecter.
Fantastic.
You're trying to catch him yourself, aren't you? He killed 3 policemen while in custody. Tearing the face off one of them, and he will kill you too.
Are you by any chance trying to trace my whereabouts? You naughty girl. I must confess to you, I'm giving very serious thought to eating your wife.
Hello and welcome to the Super 70 Podcast, episode 34.12, Hannibal and Hannibal. As will be explained in the subsequent conversation, Luke and I came across 2 very different films called Hannibal and decided to do a double feature in the same day. The result was very dour.
Dope.
How would you describe your double feature experience today?
Unlike any other. I don't think anyone on this planet has thought of this double feature. So,
And explain to our audience what our double feature was.
we watched Hannibal, followed by Hannibal. It was quite the experience. So, you want to tell the audience what's your story about this?
I'll give the background to it. And
The background is really important as to why we watch these movies back to back.
yeah, we should perhaps tell our audience that we went to California recently to see some friends and family. And actually, we met Danny and Laura with the Film is Lit podcast down in Culver City. We had a great time over dinner and drinks. And then we told them that we had been to Amoeba, I think, earlier that day.
Yes.
And we were unable to find very much at all, whereas before you and I had gone to Amoeba a few years ago, and we cleaned up like...
It was a lot. We got a lot of movies.
Yeah, it was crazy. So I think this time we bought like one that wasn't even on sale, and it's just... It's an entirely different vibe, entirely different situation. So anyway, Danny said, "Oh, you gotta if you're staying in the valley, then you got to go to CD Traders down on Ventura Boulevard." So instantly, I looked it up, and it was in a strip mall, and I thought, okay, well, we'll hit that.
Might as well
hit that. I think we hit it on Saturday, the next day.
Yeah, next day.
So you slept in, and I spent some time with the cousins, and then we woke up. We went down, and I think I spent almost $300.
Yeah, it was quite magnificent. The selection there was quite insane. They had everything there. They had everything from like the A-Team to Jodorowsky's movies. So that's insane.
I picked up a complete collection of Jodorowsky, which I didn't even know existed, and and wasn't even aware that it came in a box set.
You didn't know you could find El Topo in a commercial movie.
In a commercial
movie store?
package.
Yeah.
In English.
In English.
The other find that I had was everything Shirley Temple had ever done.
Yeah. The Shirley Temple collection. They had absolutely everything there. They had box sets from the 50s and shit like that. So about movies from the 50s.
It was 2 walls full of racks, and then
corner to corner.
Corner to corner.
And it was just DVDs, and there was another separate wall for Blu-rays.
Yeah, which was also impressive, which we mainly skipped because...
No, those are expensive.
DVDs are just cheaper, even used. But then they had like 2 whole racks that were floor to ceiling, nothing but Criterions.
Yeah.
Like, this is obviously Southern California.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't find like 5 Criterions here where we live, so...
Yeah, where basically the used media market is half price books, and that's
it.
That's almost it. Yeah, so that's pretty sad. So, but then of course you found a film, Hannibal.
Yeah, I found Hannibal. So, not to be confused with the other movie called Hannibal. So this movie is called Hannibal, and it's an Italian film from the late 50s, 1959, and it is about 1 or 2 battles fought in ancient Rome by Hannibal Barca of Carthage, and that's why I saw it, because I was like, "Oh, this looks like a really interesting movie." It's a historical. It was presented as a historical epic, and I like those. Those Cleopatra, Ben-Hur, and all that type of stuff. So I was really interested, and I saw the title Hannibal. When you came back in, I was like, "Hey, have you seen the movie Hannibal?" And then you said, that movie's dog shit. Why would you ever want to see that movie? I was like, you've seen this movie? And I showed you the movie, and you was like, no, I've never seen that movie. I thought you were talking about the Hannibal, as in the sequel to The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal.
It had Victor Mature on the cover, and I was like, why are you picking a movie with Victor Mature on it?
So I just thought that was kind of funny that you thought it was a different movie. So then we got it. I was like, thinking, like, once we get back, we can watch it. So a couple hours later, I was like, yeah, when we get back, we should watch Hannibal. And you completely forgot that we bought Hannibal the same day and said, why the hell would we watch that dog shit movie? And I was like, you just bought it. Why wouldn't we watch it? And he was like, oh, right, we just bought another movie called Hannibal.
For like $1.
For like $1. And then this whole thing like happened one more time when we got back to... where we live. It happened the 3rd time, and I was in that moment. I was like, okay, we gotta watch both these movies back to back, because that would be like hilarious, because of how many times you got them confused.
At least twice, maybe 3 times.
It was definitely 3 times.
Director Edgar G. Ulmer, who has quite the reputation, he went to Italy and filmed this in Cinecittà, but of course he signed his life away to Warner Brothers, who didn't like it, and they recut it. And when they released it, apparently, according to, this is half-assed internet research, of course.
Oh, yeah.
According to the gods of the internet, he didn't even recognize the movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. When
it came out,
I'm surprised you found anything written on this movie. There was like 4 trivia things on IMDb.
This is not very in-depth. This film was given a general release in the U.S. by Warner Brothers. It gave mainstream American audiences the first chance to see actors Mario Girardi and Carlo Pedersoli. Who? It would be over a decade later before they would become better known as Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer, and a collection of comedy action features. I didn't know them either. It's like those 2 guys that hang around in the background and Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia with Warren Oates. You're like, who are these people? Ward Bond and Gig Young. Anyway.
So it took me a little bit to convince you to watch either of these movies, particularly Hannibal. 2002 Hannibal, I think, is...
Right. Well,
like
you were
Lecter
from
movie.
2001. Now, you were familiar with that movie.
I hadn't seen it before.
No, but you knew that it existed.
I knew it existed.
Did you know that it was a Ridley Scott movie?
No, I didn't know it was a Scott movie.
It's one of his worst. Would you agree?
No, I don't think it's like gutter trash. I think there's other worse Ridley Scott movies out there.
Such as?
That was not... Okay, it was like a 4 out of 10, but I've definitely seen worse.
But was it better than Hannibal? Was Hannibal better than Hannibal, or was Hannibal worse than Hannibal?
I don't think I can pick one, because these are both like equally dog shits, actually.
So while you're looking into that, just for the audience's background, Hannibal Barca was a Carthaginian general who lived in the 3rd century
BC.
So the Rome was an up and coming republic power. It was not yet.
House of Gucci
empire.
is worse.
Oh, come on.
House of Gucci is horrible. That movie is not like Hannibal is way better than House of Gucci.
Really?
Yes, it's better than Last Duel.
What? Do you not like Jared Leto?
Jared Leto is in a completely different movie.
Lady Gaga, who is apparently from Transylvania.
You have a gift, I'm telling you.
Oh, stop. Stop, you're going to make me... You're going to make me cry. Nobody has ever said that to me. Nobody.
Paolo, why don't you have your own line?
These are just mock-ups. I can't afford to get serious.
With your gift and your talent and your vision, are you kidding? Gucci needs no blood. Goodbye 1930s. Hello 80s. Huh?
You took the words right out of my guts.
Paolo, Gucci is coming.
So there's at least two. Anyway, continue.
Anyway, so Hannibal Barca was a Carthaginian general. Carthage had 3 wars with Rome. The first Punic War, the second Punic War, and the third Punic War. The first Punic War was basically Rome and Carthage get into what was then a global war over Sicily. The Romans won, and the Carthaginians at the time had conquered Spain, so they used Spain to as a launching pad in order to launch an invasion of northern Italy. And Hannibal brought soldiers and elephants across the Straits of Gibraltar into Spain and then marched them. This took like 6-7 years for him to do this. March into northern Italy, and then he laid siege to Rome. He couldn't get in. He went up and down the peninsula for like 8 to 10 years. And finally, the Romans, led by Scipio, raised an army in Sicily, and they launched it into North Africa, and they burned Carthage to the ground, and that forced Hannibal to evacuate Italy and then go all the way back around so that he could protect Carthage. And then, of course, his father, of course, was a sworn enemy of Rome, and his son was a sworn enemy of Rome. And the Third Punic War is basically the Romans deciding, we can't wait for Carthage to come back. We're just going to conquer all of North Africa. So they went back to North Africa, and not only did they burn Carthage to the ground a second time, they actually raised slave labor, reduced all of the stone, scattered all the stone, and then they made salt out of the sea, and they sowed the salt into the fields around Carthage so that you couldn't grow any crops, and so that Carthage would never rise again. That's how bitter the contest was. It's kind of like our current conflict in the Middle East, actually. So Hannibal was played by Victor Mature, which I don't think I've seen a Victor Mature movie or a TV show in decades. So it was kind of nice seeing him again without he had that black shoe polish hairdo, which looked like complete shit. And then inexplicably, he's got an eye patch for the last half of the movie.
He injured his eye.
He injured his eye during battle. And then, of course, they had the Battle of Cannae, which for military historians, the Battle of Cannae is very famous. Everyone talks about Cannae. General Norman Schwarzkopf, before he went into Iraq in 1991, he talked about how he was hoping to have a Cannae and that he was going to force Saddam to get into this Cannae-like battle. And so we're still referencing Cannae, 2,000 years later or 2,400 years later. And that's just when the Romans went in as a block, and then Hannibal surrounded them, and he pushed back their reserves so that they couldn't help. And then he encircled the Romans completely and then just slaughtered them from the outside. And I think it was something like 40 or 50,000 Romans were left dead on the field of battle. And the bodies just stayed there in a pyramid for, I don't know, I think it was years before anything could be done about it. And that led to the complete subjugation of Italy without Rome. And this looked worse than Roberto Rossellini's movies in the 60s about Italian history. This was way worse than that. The color was bad on this. This was a bad transfer. It was shot in CinemaScope. Nobody cared to put any money into it. It was obviously made as a cheap throwaway DVD, and it was overdubbed horribly. What was your favorite part of Hannibal?
Okay. So we're going to start with Hannibal first? Okay. This is my favorite part of Hannibal?
Yeah.
The ending. Like it ended. That movie was not good. There were so many problems with it. it felt very directionless. The script wasn't there. The cinematography was god-awful. The locations sucked. The costumes were ass. The acting was really bad. The ADR was bad. Even, like, the main Carthage army was, like, the elephants. And, like, the elephants, like, they look like babies. It's something that Short Round would ride in Temple of Doom. They're not big elephants.
Right. They don't look like African elephants.
They don't look like African elephants. The story doesn't make sense. I think I already said that. Pretty much everything was bad. The editing was horrible. Best part? No, ending.
It did have, occasionally you would see like a very nice sliding shot on a rail.
Oh, yeah, to show the army, and then it would pan down to Hannibal. That was about it.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be like one of the biggest in the ancient world and biggest battles. You only see like a couple dozen men on screen at a time.
And the battle itself.
And the battle itself,
out of Braveheart or something, not out of Spartacus.
Yeah, you said it was like more like medieval warfare instead of like ancient world warfare, which is different. And there was like, how do you describe it? It was like not a lot of people. And like the main part of the battle was just like a big ass hill, and then all the people were just like kind of slamming against each other. And that was like, that was about 100 people, 150 people?
At least. Maybe 200.
Maybe 200?
Yeah, in a battle that had,
50,000, 100,000 in total.
110,000 total, yeah.
So there was almost no one on screen. There was no scale. It looked like Spartacus has more scale,
For sure.
So.
And of course, they're working with a limited budget. And I think I told you about how, Cinecittà was created in the 1920s by, their biggest benefactor was Mussolini. And they kept everything. Unlike modern Hollywood, where they strike their sets almost immediately, and they with the exception of props, they throw away pretty much everything in terms of costumes. Cinecittà kept everything in warehouses, and they just reused it.
Yeah, it's you say with the budget thing, and like that organization is significantly smaller than Hollywood at the time, but you gotta be like very realistic about what you can do. And I don't think in any reality that a Hannibal movie is at all feasible for that industry, because it has to have scale with it, And
it's perfectly possible to create something in small scale at Cinecittà and get away with it. I mean, Fellini did it for 25 years.
Yeah, that's small scale. It's completely fine. But if you're trying to portray a massive ancient war, then you got to have more money, I guess. This
looked like it was maybe budgeted by Dino De Laurentiis, which is really funny because we saw his name in the credits of Hannibal.
Yeah. He produced everything, apparently. So,
except for his granddaughter's cooking show.
It had no direction. You'd think it would...
Hannibal or Hannibal?
Hannibal.
Okay.
So it had no direction. What was the point of the movie, really? Like, they had that battle, and like it's kind of like aimless for a while. And nothing really happens. If you have it's almost like a historical biopic, right? I expected to start when his military career started, and then to when he was defeated. No, when I saw the length of this, I knew it was going to be like one or two battles, because it's only like an hour and 38 minutes. So I knew it wasn't going to be long. It was only going to be like about a certain time in his life. So instantly that brought everything down, because you're not getting the full thing of his life. And plus, you don't even see Carthage in the movie.
So Edgar G. Ulmer, the American director of this, he was partnered with an Italian director who handled the Italian scenes, which most of them were overdubbed. But anyway, he's most famous for Detour, 1945, the famous film noir, which we saw.
Yeah, the black and white one?
Yeah.
I know what you're going to hand me even before you open your mouths. You're going to tell me you don't believe my story and give me that don't make me laugh expression on your smug faces. Look, I'll tell you what. You stay put out there, I'll come to you. Let's get married right away. How far are you going?
L.A. Not many people stop for a guy these days. Afraid of a stick-up, maybe.
This buggy belongs to a guy named Haskell. That's not you, mister.
Now, wait a minute.
Shut up. You're a cheap crook and you killed him.
So what else was there to do but hide the body and get away in the car?
Even if you you did tell the cops I was in on it with you, what could they do to me?
I can't believe that you're in love with me.
Are you Charles Haskell, Jr.?
Yes.
There was no time to lose. Every minute I had to be Charles Haskell was dangerous.
Hey, you, this your car?
By that time, I'd done just what the police would say I did, even if I didn't.
Maybe it's a good thing you met me. You'd have got yourself caught, sure.
Whichever way you turn, fate sticks out a foot to trip you.
That was a good movie. I like that.
Yeah, Criterion put this out, and
that's, yeah.
That's generally considered to be like in top 5 best film noirs. And Edgar,
is Detour?
Detour, yeah, it's Detour, and then Double Indemnity.
You think Detour is in top 5 noirs?
Well, I didn't say I thought that, but generally speaking, a lot of people bring that up. They say Detour, Double Indemnity, and then they, Maltese Falcon, and sometimes Touch of Evil, although that comes and goes.
Okay.
And a whole lot of Bogarts get in and out of that, right? Not In a Lonely Place, because that's more of a melodrama, but usually Out of the Past with Robert Mitchum, or the one that Bogart did with Lauren Bacall, which I know they did like 4 movies together, but whatever. But he has a hell of a track record. Like if you go through his filmography, he makes some war propaganda. Prisoner of Japan, 1942. Tomorrow We Live, 1942. My Son the Hero, Girls in Chains, Isle of Forgotten Sins, Jive Junction, Minstrel Man. All these are like 43, 44. He makes a Bluebeard movie, which Bluebeard is a famous tale. In 1944, Strange Illusion, he gets into film noir. 1945, Detour, Club Havana, The Wife of Monte Cristo, which was a sequel to The Count of Monte Cristo.
Is that based on a book?
Yeah, but it's kind of like a made-up sequel. Like there was no. I mean, it's based on the events of the book happened previously. Yeah. There's nothing to go on, but we're going to make a movie anyway. Because every time we make a movie of The Count of Monte Cristo, it makes money.
A lot of money.
Yeah. Her Sister's Secret, The Strange Woman, Carnegie Hall, Ruthless. Like he's staying busy. The Pirates of Capri, So Young, So Bad, The Man from Planet X. This is where he dips into like weird 50s shit.
Oh, sci-fi 50s stuff like B movies.
Yeah, 1951, and then Babes in Baghdad. 1952. Yeah. Like that's not a general release movie. So. Murder Is My Beat, which is a cheap B movie. The Naked Dawn. Anytime you put naked in a movie title. And then he did a movie in Germany, Der Meinenbauer, 1956.
Sounds like a riot. The
Daughter of Dr. Jekyll. That's apparently something he did in the UK. The Naked Venus, 1959, same year as Hannibal. His last movie was The Cavern, 1964, which apparently is an Italian horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's too bad that one of the guys who, I mean, he wasn't a one-hit wonder. Obviously, his movies made money, or his filmography wouldn't be so deep. But one of the guys who made one of the best film noirs known was not able to keep up that level of playing. That's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Any final words about Hannibal before we move on to Hannibal?
Built all over these fields as far as you could see. Let it appear like nations are encamped here. The Romans must believe our strength is double, even triple to what it actually is.
Your eyes will see it, your ears will hear it, but it's almost beyond belief. The spectacular savagery of Hannibal, the gigantic titan of titans, and his crazed elephant army, thundering on history's most fantastic mission of vengeance. Hannibal, who shouted, "Behind my wall of elephants, I'll conquer them all." Hannibal, who conquered the unconquerable, performed the impossible, and discovered his greatest danger in the arms of an aristocratic enemy beauty, the girl whose warm and willing lips were a decoy for death.
I would rather die than be a slave of that monster.
Is that what the Romans call Hannibal? If he heard what you said, he'd probably cut your tongue out. There's nothing left for us to do but to go forward.
Until we fall in our tracks?
Would I march my army halfway across Europe and be camped here in these forbidding Alps? If there was any other way for me to prevent Rome from invading our homeland.
I don't know how, but Alexander was better. Somehow Alexander was better than this movie.
Top 5 epics. Roman epics.
Roman epics?
What are we looking at here?
Have
we even seen 5 Roman epics? Hail Caesar does not count.
Oh shit, it doesn't count.
Spartacus, Cleopatra.
I think Cleopatra might be better than Spartacus.
Ten Commandments is not technically Roman.
That's
That's
not Roman at all.
That's sword and sandal. So you can call that sword and sandal.
Sword and sandal, but it's not Roman at all.
It's also, is there a battle in the Ten Commandments? I don't think there is.
I mean, they escape from a battle, a potential battle.
Yeah, and when they run away from Pharaoh.
So you got Cleopatra, Spartacus.
Well, the Vikings is sword and sandal.
It's not a Roman epic though. If you're talking about like epics from that Hollywood era, then you got a lot more. Or just epics in general, then you got like, historical epics, then you got a lot more.
And there's a battle in Ben-Hur, but it's a naval battle, not a land battle.
Yeah, that's a really good battle, actually.
Yeah.
So
William Wyler. Okay, and so let's move on to Hannibal if you're ready.
But why did you want to do the top 5?
Well, so we could point out movies that were better than Hannibal.
You don't have to look far to point out movies that are better than Hannibal.
Well, of the same genre.
Of the same genre. If you're doing it about the same genre, then it's just like every historical epic. Kingdom of Heaven is better than Hannibal.
Way better.
Lawrence of Arabia, Cleopatra,
Dr.
Spartacus,
Zhivago.
Dr. Zhivago, Ten Commandments, Ben-Hur. All those are better than Hannibal.
We need to see Passage of India. I've got it on Laserdisc, but it's full, and we need the widescreen.
All right. I wish they would like make another one, like just
another epic.
Yeah, I like historical epics. Even with Napoleon's flaws, I've still appreciated a movie like that.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think Hannibal as a concept is like a really cool. You got a lot of room there.
It should be remade.
It should be remade. I think along with the grandiose scale, you can do that today.
Who do we cast as Hannibal?
As Hannibal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God,
I know who I would cast.
Who would you cast?
Woody Harrelson.
Yeah? You cast Woody Harrelson?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, we watched that. We watched that Ape movie, which I had no interest in, and which the Ape, it was a Dawn of the Planet of the Apes or whatever it was.
Oh yeah, War of the Planet of the Apes.
War of the Planet of the Apes. Okay.
You think he can really?
Well, I will tell you when they had his reveal and he was on that lanyard line and he was in the waterfall and he had the paint on his face, I was like, holy shit, that's Woody Harrelson. Now I know his name was in the credits. I knew that he was in the movie. I understood what I was going into and I was watching, but I really was not. I was not ready for that type of character reveal. I thought it was done brilliantly, and it really put me into a different frame of mind when I saw him in that way. Because wasn't he in Solo?
Yeah, he played the villain.
Yeah, I completely did not care about his role in that film.
Of course. I think you could hold Hugh Jackman. I think he could play him.
He's about a decade younger than Harrelson. Definitely more physical of an actor.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go with that. Just nobody young. Nobody.
No,
It needs to be like a mid-40s, late.
It's like
40s.
a Bond thing. You have to cast someone in their 40s,
middle-aged.
Yeah, and you don't want like a massively someone who's just only played superheroes. You know what I mean? I have no interest in seeing like Chris Hemsworth play Hannibal. You know what I mean? I don't think it fits.
Okay.
Tom Hardy could do it. I know. I just contradicted myself, but I really like Tom Hardy.
No, Tom Hardy's pretty. We got the Bike Riders coming out here in a couple of weeks, so that'll be good.
Yeah, I'll see anything with him in it. He's fantastic.
Legend.
That's a great movie. Hannibal.
Shall we move on to Hannibal?
You should tell your experience with the world that is
Well, I mean, when I was a kid, I don't know how old I was 9 or 10 years old, and I saw Manhunter by Michael Mann, and of course it had the first Hannibal Lecter on screen played by Brian Cox. I was wrapped into Manhunter. It looked a lot like Miami Vice because, of course, Michael Mann shot Miami Vice and produced that too and directed some of the episodes. And I was really wrapped into that film. I thought it was an awesome film. I thought Will Peterson did a fantastic job in it, and Tom Noonan as the Tooth Fairy. I just thought it was all around a really good, cogent, stylistic kind of color noir thriller about a serial killer. It had a lot of trauma in it that William L. Peterson was able to carry in. You know, he was in To Live and Die in L.A. You know.
Yeah,
and
that's a great movie.
Yeah. So I read the book, Red Dragon, that it was based on, because they had it in the stores, and it had a sticker on it saying, you know, the movie Manhunter is based on this book or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. So you read it.
So I read the book, and it was a really good mass market paperback. That it came out in the early 80s, if I remember correctly. So by the time I got to it, it was already in mass market paperback. It had already been sold, you know, millions upon millions of copies. And then when Silence of the Lambs came out, you know, nobody said anything about Manhunter. Nobody mentioned Manhunter, but I had seen that it was based on a novel, so I saw the novel, and it was by the same author, and of course it was about Hannibal Lecter. So I read I didn't even know that Silence of the Lambs had come out, and I read that on mass market paperback too. And I thought the story was crazy. It was just a crazy story.
How so?
Well, it was the FBI effort to find the Tooth Fairy. I'm sorry, Buffalo Bill. Mm-hmm. And Buffalo Bill being a transgender person who is creating a suit of females.
Yeah.
He's fattening the females so that he can wear their suit. It was very weird and very, very bizarre. And it was almost like in the same role as like Psycho, right? Where he was sort of standing in for his mother, right? He wanted to be his mother and kill his mother. There was a lot of male female issues, a lot of gender issues going on. And of course, Anthony Perkins also did another movie, slasher movie in the early 80s, in which he actually dressed up like a woman and went around and killing other women who were prostitutes. While he played actually a street preacher, right? He was an evangelist who was trying to proselytize, and he wound up being the killer at their end and wearing a wig and everything. It was like, oh, This is like too close to Psycho. You should not have done this, but whatever. It was in that same vein, and of course when the film came out, like it hit like a bomb. Like everybody was like, holy shit, you got to go see Silence of the Lambs. Nobody really saw where the film was going, because it was, you know, Clarice Starling interviewing the serial killer Hannibal Lecter. Anthony Hopkins turned in like this masterful performance. I don't know if he was nominated or not, but he probably should have been. And of course, I love Jodie Foster, and Jodie Foster's performance was really good about how she'd been this tortured childhood. She's abused at work and very, very underappreciated. And then, of course, the finale, which came out of the middle of nowhere, right? Because the minute that door opens, everyone in the theater is like, oh, shit. But she could leave that house and never know. It's quite possible. And so when you've got that turn, and she now is in real danger. And then the lights go out. It's just the perfect, oh my God, finale. And I think that was Ted Demme or Jonathan Demme. I can't remember. Please forgive me. And of course, that movie was nominated, and Demme was nominated. It was just a very all around, oh my God, you got to see this movie moment, which you don't get a whole lot of. You just don't. And so then, of course, like, I don't know, 8 years went by, and Robert Harris, the author, he was getting a lot of pressure to crank out another Hannibal book, because a lot of his other books had not done nearly as well. So he wrote Hannibal. I read Hannibal, and I hated it. I didn't like it at all, and I didn't particularly like the way that it ended. Which, spoilers, let's turn on the spoiler alarm. end of the book, Clarice Starling is fed up with her situation at the FBI, with all the sexism, misogyny, and how and she's facing a lot of jail time for a lot of decisions that she was forced into making. She didn't really have a choice, and so she and Lecter go off together, and she becomes his lover, and they live happily ever after. That's the end of the novel.
Yeah, that's insane.
So when I read that, I was like, "That's effed up. I don't like this book." They signed on to do the movie like almost the second, probably before the book was even published. They signed everybody on to do the movie. Jodie Foster's going to play Clarice Starling again. Anthony Hopkins is going to come back as Lecter, and they were lining up a whole lot of other people. And then Foster apparently read the script. At the end, she was like, I don't think this character would do this. I'm not going to do this movie. So that pissed off Hopkins because he wanted it. And they had a hard time finding a director because Demme didn't want to do it because of the ending. They got Ridley Scott. Ridley Scott didn't want to do it because he thought Demme should do it. So they had to pay everyone basically a whole lot more to do the movie. So they got Julianne Moore to do it. Well, Julianne Moore didn't want to do it because she thought, I'm walking into Jodie Foster's role. No one's going to like me. No one's going to appreciate me. And she was right. And so they had to pay her more to do so the movie just cost way more in salaries than it should have. And Scott, of course, is a capable director. I have no problem with the directing in the film. It's all screenplay. It's all screenplay issues. The second act sucks. It's way too long. She's not even in it.
Basically, she doesn't do anything in it.
And she shouldn't actually be in the movie at all, really. Like if she's not going to be in the middle hour, then she doesn't need to be in the movie. She comes in, she's 20 minutes in the beginning.
You could make the whole movie about just like, what was his name? Mason Verger?
Yeah.
You can make about the whole movie about his revenge.
Right.
And you don't really even need her.
And then you hire a power hitter to play his henchman.
Yeah.
Right? His enforcer who goes around like Frank Nitti trying to find
There's already
Lecter.
like enough moving parts going on. You have the detective trying to find him, and then the detective hires other people to get Lecter, who are ultimately still trying to get that money. And then you have Verger, his own people trying to find Lecter. You know what I mean? So there's already two different parties, and you add a third, or it just gets messy.
Yeah, and it was 20 minutes too long.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was over 2 hours.
Yeah,
and none of that was needed. And then of course they shot the ending and they showed it, and test audiences hated it. And so the studio was like, "Oh my God, we have a Hannibal Lecter movie that people are going to hate. We don't want it that." So they shot the ending that it has now, which is she doesn't go with him to Buenos Aires and become his lover. And well, that was the ending that Jodie Foster wanted. So you might as well have just fucking hired Jodie Foster and changed the script in the beginning and released the movie that you did. I don't think it still would have done well. It still has script issues.
Yeah. But it would have been better. Definitely.
Well, Jodie Foster, I mean, nothing against Julianne Moore. This is her role, and she would have elevated the film. I mean, I love Julianne Moore. Children of Men, she's absolutely wonderful. And then, of course, she's irreplaceable in The Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
As Maude. So what other aspects did you not like about it?
Pacing. I thought there was a lot of like aspects of the movie that were really cool, and there was aspects of the movie that like really shined through and said like, oh, this isn't like a totally garbage script. This isn't just like making a sequel to make a sequel, because these parts existed. You know, like the whole the detective being a descendant.
Yeah, Giancarlo Giannini, who's a great Italian actor.
He's like that whole subplot of him being descendant of this
the Pazzi's.
The Pazzi's. That was like actually kind of interesting. And then Lecter doing this whole thing, throwing him off the balcony, like
and disemboweling him.
And then you had the revenge section with Verger. I thought it was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Wonderfully played by Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Like, a great performance.
I thought there's a lot of like aspects that weren't horrible. I thought there were good aspects if you just expounded upon them more.
But you had this thing going on with Ray Liotta's character, Starling, that was just it would have been better without it. And the movie probably would have been an hour 50.
If they were trying to portray that Starling was having problems at the FBI, it wasn't portrayed well at all. I mean, of course you see it, but that's not that's like part of one of the main issues that she has in the book. Apparently, like you say, is like she has a lot of issues with the people at the FBI.
There's a lot of sexism, a lot of misogyny, and she was cheated out of a lot of
right?
people.
In the movie, you see like 2 scenes of that. Whereas, like in The Silence of the Lambs, it's way more apparent, especially with the lighting in that movie.
Well, the second shot in the film when she gets into the elevator,
yeah,
and it's just all men in suits, or not, they're not in suits, they're all in jogging wear, but she's obviously so much miniature in size.
So it does a better job in Silence of the Lambs in that part,
and she doesn't fit in.
Yeah,
and there's the complicated shootout in the beginning that doesn't need to be in the film.
The shootout, it seemed to me, only was there to like drive the plot a little more, and even then, like the plot didn't really need that, because I'm pretty sure she would have just gone on the case anyway. You know, you didn't need to have her boss push this case on her because of that shootout in the beginning, which was not needed.
Well, they brought her in because there was a lead.
Yeah.
So why not just start with that? Why do you just have the detective in Italy, and then a lead is created, and then she's following the lead?
There's a lot of stuff you can cut out, like Starling's entire character. Really, you could just cut her scenes out of the movie, but you wouldn't have like a movie that people wanted to see after Lambs. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're making a Hannibal movie with no Jodie Foster?
Should we close on, say, Furiosa?
Oh, fantastic movie. I don't know how in the hell it did so poorly at the box office.
That's crazy to me.
But it deserved $1 billion. Like, it's a fantastic film.
It seems to be...
I want to go see it again.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Maybe on Tuesday we can catch a Tightwad Tuesday for $5.
Fantastic.
I thought, now, is this... Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this Chris Hemsworth movie, or is this Anna Taylor?
I don't know. Hemsworth does a fantastic job in this movie as Dementus. I thought the whole movie was just like a wonderful like expansion on the world of Mad Max.
Yeah,
which I really love the world of Mad Max.
Stories from the Wasteland. It's like a comic book, you know.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You get to see the Bullet Farm. You get to see more of the Citadel. You get to see Gastown on screen. So that's cool.
What do you think about his nose?
It's a character, so I'm fine with it.
I have found after 20 minutes, the nose just disappeared.
No, yeah, he becomes the character.
Yeah,
so
in that crazy accent he's got, just leaning into that heavy outbackish accent. I just thought that was brilliant.
Well, I played the Mad Max video game that came out like almost 10 years ago.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah,
I really liked it. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was just cars, and you're just a lot of car combat, and that world was what I wanted to see on screen. It's because, like, in Fury Road, you only get to see a very minuscule amount of the world. And then when I played the game, it was like, oh, this is so more, like, layered than I thought and when I saw in the movie. So, like, then with Furiosa, you get all that and more.
Mm-hmm.
So, and plus the character of Furiosa is played brilliantly by Anya Taylor-Joy.
So the end... Spoilers! So the ending leading like right up into Fury Road. Yeah. Were you okay with that?
I mean, it felt like a little. I don't know.
I don't think it needed it.
It didn't need it. I think you could have just ended with the pullback with. You already said spoilers with Hemsworth on top of the Citadel.
Yeah,
you could have just done a pullback, and like I don't know
credits.
Credits somewhere, but you didn't really need that like rush to tie it instantly back into Fury Road.
Or her just shoveling dirt into a hole where she just buried him or something. You know, something like that.
You didn't need it, but it doesn't make the movie bad. I still think it's like a 9 out of 10. It's almost as good as Fury Road.
I think the last 90 seconds and then leading into the credit sequence where they keep flashing back to Fury Road, like I just think there was a lot of, we don't know how to end this. So they just kind of threw everything in trying to end it.
Yeah, maybe.
But
I don't know.
That doesn't take away the first 2 hours and 15 minutes of it.
No, not at all. I thought it was fantastic. I loved every second of it. I was ready to go back into the wasteland. Any movie set in a desert area, I'm locked in. I want to see the first 20 minutes of Exorcist. I love the first part of Exorcist. It's just in the desert.
Yeah.
The whole sequence in Cairo, in Raiders, I love it. All of Lawrence of Arabia, love it. I love anything set in a desert. So
that's awesome.
Hmm.
All right, any final words?
Inside Out 2 is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you saw that, and it still had the same cast?
I think so. Must see.
Positive 5 stars, 4 stars?
Honestly, I give it a 5. It's like just as good as the first Inside Out.
That's saying a lot, because that movie went far.
Oh, yeah, it's fantastic.
I did read some posts like, thank goodness they didn't make this about a prepubescent boy, and it was good that they went with a girl.
Well, I think it's a lot easier to they picked a girl because I thought, like, it's a lot easier to utilize those emotions more, and both the emotion part and, like, Riley's character on the outside. So that's what I thought they picked a girl for, which I thought was better because like it's a running joke with her dad. It's just like all he does is like check out, and like his emotions are watching football. Like that's the running joke. And like
well, Riley's into hockey, isn't she?
Yeah, but her emotions aren't like checking out and watching hockey. That's what her dad does all the time. He's like, "Oh, I expected that. Put on the game." So I thought it was better to go with that direction instead of with a boy.
It's an old joke, and I don't know who was saying about, like, when you ask a guy, what are you thinking? And the guy says nothing. It's actually, they're not lying.
There's
it's
nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
There's nothing. Mom hits me with that all the time. Just like, nothing. So.
All right. Well, thanks for jumping on the pod
and
talking about Hannibal and Hannibal.
Yeah. Highly recommend to not watch Hannibal or Hannibal. We did. You haven't seen the This is a fake out ending, but you haven't seen the show. You should see this. I've seen all the episodes.
The Hannibal show?
Of the Hannibal show with Mads Mikkelsen. Brilliant. You should watch it. It's a very different direction, like artistically.
Mm-hmm. And it's 1 season or 2?
3.
3 seasons?
Yeah.
And they gave up.
I don't know what happened to it. I think it got canceled, actually.
Yeah. Well, typically when they start costing too much an episode, they just...
Oh, that show costed a lot of... I could tell that show costed a lot of money. But it was very entertaining, so... Definitely better than Hannibal.
All right, it's on Netflix. So
Prime?
Yeah. All right, I should catch it.
All right, that was it. This time's the real ending.
Thanks for coming on the pod.
Of course.
Thanks for listening to Luke and I wax intellectual about Hannibal Barca and Hannibal Lecter. The Super 70 podcast is found anywhere you find podcasts. You can find me, my books, and my blog at www.thatdylandavis.com. And you can reach me at thatdylandavis@gmail.com. You can find Rosalind McPhail's music on iTunes and Spotify. You can find her at rosalindmcphail.com. I'm Dylan Davis, and we'll see you next time on the planet Naboo.
They're emptying out their mental institutions into the United States, our beautiful country. And now the prison populations all over the world are down. They don't want to report that. The mental institution population is down because they're taking people from insane asylums and from mental institutions. You know what the difference is, right? An insane asylum is a mental institution on steroids. Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter. He's a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner. Remember the last scene? Excuse me, I'm about to have a friend for dinner. Is this poor doctor? I'm about to have a friend for dinner. But Hannibal Lecter, congratulations. The late, great Hannibal Lecter. We have people that are being released into our country that we don't want in our country. And they're coming in totally unchecked, totally unvetted.